Have you ever wondered why in developed regions we seem to get so much acne, but in less developed areas this is just so rare? Today I'm going to touch on why. Hi guys, welcome back. I'm very excited to talk on this subject today as I think it will be really interesting and it should give us a very good insight into why we experience acne so often now. On a global scale, acne affects around 85% of people aged between 12 and 25. However, in less developed regions, this is far less common. In one study from the International Journal of Dermatology, it showed that acne only affected around 5.37% of the population of the study from 3 rural Egyptian villages. Even further than this, there are actually some small areas where acne isn't present at all, including the Bantus in South Africa, the Eskimos, and some South American Indians as well. So you're probably wondering, why is this? Is this just simply because of genetics, or is there a difference in our environment causing acne, or is it our lifestyles that is causing it? I'll run through each in greater detail, but overall genetics probably isn't your answer and nor is our environment, but lifestyle is probably the largest reason. So firstly, let's run through genetics. We know that within indigenous hunter-gatherer groups, there isn't a huge amount of genetic mixing in terms of outside individuals. Therefore, their gene pools are not as diluted as ours historically, and as a result, their genetic traits are more amplified. Therefore, some people have hypothesized that these individuals may carry some kind of genetic protection from acne. Now, I don't believe this is probably a strong argument, as we have found that when these individuals moved to a more industrialized environment, the rates of acne did increase. Therefore, this shows that genetics aren't as strong of an influence in this case. Okay, so could environment be the reason these individuals rarely suffer from acne? My first suspicion would probably be air pollution, which could influence the skin disease, and I'd imagine air pollution is much higher in developed areas as opposed to less developed areas. However, I couldn't find much research or evidence for this or against this argument, so I won't touch on it. The second reason could be sun exposure, due to the fact that hunter-gatherers will be exposed to more sunlight from spending less time indoors. It's a known fact that the sun is our main source of vitamin D production, which aids skin health and healing, and also has a positive effect against acne. There hasn't, however, been much evidence to show that sun exposure improves acne, but much stronger evidence that it causes photoaging of the skin. The third reason could be C. acnes bacteria, which we know plays a part in acne formation. Specifically, is involved with the inflammatory response. However, we see this bacteria in both acne sufferers and non-acne sufferers. So lastly, let's run through lifestyle, which I believe is the most likely reason for this huge disparity in acne prevalence. I'm going to talk about 2 biggest differences between our lifestyles that I believe cause us to have so much more acne. The first being diet, which I know is fairly controversial when it comes to whether this causes acne, with some studies saying diet affects acne and some saying it doesn't. But in the case of scenarios with a lack of conclusive studied evidence but a high level of anecdotal evidence, I would say follow the anecdotal reports. Our excessive consumption of dairy, sugar, trans fats and saturated fats is very likely making our acne much worse. A diet high in sugars, for example, will excessively raise insulin, which can cause an excessive growth of skin cells, which can contribute to pores being clogged. High insulin can also increase testosterone, which increases sebum levels, which can also clog pores. The second factor here is stress. I'm going to cover stress in a whole other video because I not only believe it contributes to a huge level of skin issues such as acne, aging, or any inflammatory skin condition, but it can also damage our overall health so dramatically. We live such stressful lives in developed countries now, and it is affecting our health. We aren't sleeping enough, resting enough, and we work and study so many hours of the week. We're putting an extraordinary pressure on ourselves. I won't even talk about how much social media and economic issues like housing prices is making us feel stressed as well. One study I think is quite relevant is the measure of the increase in acne over the last few decades, which we know has been across the same time when we have seen a surge in the number of women entering the workforce. So overall, I encourage you to look at your diet and stress in particular, as these would be the biggest contributors. If you are debating whether your diet is bad, it probably is. And if you're debating whether you're too stressed, you probably are. We're just so accustomed to high pressure lives now that it feels normal. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please follow and share this on any platform you're watching it on. See you soon, guys.